All right. Hello, everybody. We are now in session. Call the meeting to order. My time is 6:10. 6:10. Hey, guys, on the second agenda item on here is to discuss and consider an employment contract for the city administrators. Anyone have any objections if we move this to before the budget workshop, since we have other people that are here to go into closed session for that?
Make a motion that we move agenda item 2 and 3 until after item 4.
Okay, we have a motion just to move the order of the item, the executive session, to after item number 4. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Flipper. Okay. Motion carries. Agenda item number 2 will now be agenda item number 4. Okay. Oh, 3? Oh, okay. 2 and 3 would become 3 and 4. Okay. All right. Moving on. So that takes us to agenda item number 4. Discuss and consider requests made by Devine Golf Group on the new / repair of air conditioner.
Hello, Brian Navarro, 104 Solid Drive.
Ron Richards from the Devine Golf Group.
I just want to start off by saying thank you to Josh, Stacy for coming out last week, looking at the area and the issues, and hopefully we can come to a solution. I did speak with Dustin today on the attic fans. He's going to start the work. He got all the materials in. He's going to start the work on Thursday. Spoke to him also about the fan in the room that is temperature controlled. He will give me a quote at that time as well for that. I think we probably all agree that, let's see how these two things work out before we decide on spending, $10,000 on a unit. So.
I agree. What are you asking for today?
Today I'm just asking for time to get the other quote from Dustin on the interior fan for the room.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't know if you maybe had a ballpark number.
I have no. He couldn't even give me a number. He just said I'm just gonna have to do it on Thursday. I don't know where exactly it's gonna go yet. Was his big concern. So.
Well, I appreciate it, fellas.
So an interior fan for that room, or for he's just not sure altogether where it's going to go?
He doesn't know in that room if he's going to put it through the window back there or through, another wall or something.
You remember the broken window I showed y'all? Yeah, so it'd be really nice to pull that out and not have to replace the window, because those things are expensive. And we bought a door once already, and the front door was $700, so that little window is going to be... Gotcha. You can pull that out, put something in there, put the fan in it, save you some money.
So in an event we do need to get an air conditioner in the future, we already know this is a contentious issue. How are you folks looking financially? I know you have to do the quarterly and monthly reports and whatnot, but to Debbie's point there, splitting the bill, it sounded like that was a no-go, and I understand you folks are putting a lot of your own money into it. But as we prepare for budget season, how are you folks doing with financial solvency moving into this next fiscal year?
Right now, we're in a position where we can pay our bills, we can pay our employees. The big issue is upgrading and improving the course, and that's what our members want. They want improvement on the course, and financially, a year and 3 months into this, we're not at that point yet.
Right. That's fair. Is the winter your faster months, or are those your slower months?
Slower months.
Okay. Do you expect, I know it's asking a lot because you never know what's going to pop up, but do you expect any need for financial support as we go through the winter and into the spring?
Right now, like I said, we have some pumps that are really old that we're using. Dustin, again, has helped us with some work on there. He's replacing some controllers and some connectors, and we're just trying to keep the units we have intact and running. You know, the buildings they're in are falling apart. You know, they're probably 30 years old. We had a door fly off with the wind. You know, it's we got a leak in the other one. Looks like it's about to fall in the pond. But I mean, it's just like I said, we're getting by. We're paying the bills, and our plan is to, of course, do some improvements. We're just not at that point yet.
Okay. What does a new pump cost?
I think we got a quote last year, maybe in the minutes, but I want to say it was around 40 grand.
Wow. Okay.
And that was to be completely automated with the jockey pump, backup jockey pump, where you can actually regulate how much water is going to which area and things like that. So.
Okay. So I appreciate that knowledge for going into budget season here. Probably not a bad idea to leave some room for that. Well, obviously we have to discuss, but
So you know, there's two of them.
I heard that. I wasn't lost on that, but you get me amenable to helping out maybe with one with some wiggle room, but two, we'll see. As we do approach those issues, it has been brought to my attention there are some folks that happen to live across the street from the golf course and benefit whenever that water's turned on to sprinkle their lawn. I would ask that you look into that because I don't want to face the heat from those sorts of things when we have to replace a pump that then benefits not the golf course. I don't want to put folks' names out there and stir up a beehive.
You could tell them out after the meeting.
Let's do that.
Okay, we're unaware of it because we certainly don't want to waste water.
It was somebody gloating to other folks, and then those other folks came to tell me.
So I used to live on Malone, and the sprinklers on number 1 would sometimes reach my front yard when the wind was howling out of the north.
Maybe it's something like that, but yeah, I'll let you know afterwards, and you folks can look into it. Yeah, thank you.
Quick question, any ideas on venting the hot air from the ice machines?
That's what we're looking at for that room. Yeah, that's what we're looking at for that room. That exhaust fan to pull that hot air out of that room.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I just thought we were talking
And it's not going to be anywhere near what that other one is. The one in the attic is going to be a big one.
Right.
This is going to be a smaller unit, so it's got to be less.
So right now, we're just going to see how things are progressing with the things you're doing now. Great. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, well, that was easy. You guys got anything further to discuss on that item? Okay. Moving on. Okay, at this time, we will go into executive session pursuant to provision of the Open Meeting Law, Texas Government Code 551.074, personnel matters, consider employment and contract for Deck Shaver Jr.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to appeal that and have, since things have changed, I'd like to make a motion that we have an open session on Mr. Shaver so that we would be more transparent to our residents.
I'll second that motion.
Can we do that, Tom? Yeah, sure, that's great. Sure. Okay, we have a motion and a second to remain in open session for this agenda item. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, great. Okay, so we'll discuss it now. No worries. Okay, I'll go ahead and start that just so the public knows. We agreed to hire a gentleman from Houston named Deck Shaver Jr. They had a tremendous resume. Everyone was felt great about it. We were excited about it. But as of this morning, he came to Devine. Did he come to City Office on Friday or just yesterday? Okay, and he came to City Hall on Monday, and he stayed the entire day. Everything went well, and what have you. Getting settled, getting his office settled and such. And then this morning he texted me that he had changed his mind, is rescinding our employment offer and his acceptance of our employment offer. So long story short, we are still in search of a city administrator.
Did he give any particular reason why?
He didn't give any reason on his text message. I'll be glad to share that with you guys. He basically said it was personal reasons that it was just come up. And so I gave him about an hour or two after receiving the message. I got the message at, I was in North at 8:30 our time, 8:20 our time. And so basically all he said here was that due to pressing family matters, he needs to return to Houston and he cannot accept the employment offer. Okay, so I gave it about an hour and a half or so, and I called him, and I asked him, first and foremost, I said, hey, I hope everything works out well for you. Obviously, I'm going to ask him what that issue is. I said, we're very saddened that it didn't work out for us also. And then I asked him if there was any, since he came to Devine on that Monday, if there were any red flags, there was something that he saw with our particular operation, our city building, our anything we do. And he was very sincere. He said absolutely not. He said that he just, his wife is currently overseas, and that they had discussed everything. And when I talked with him after we offered him a job, and I'll get to that later, I'm just talking about what we said this morning, he seemed to be that everything was fine. And then apparently she didn't agree to come to Devine. So he decided that it's in his best interest and his family's interest that he remain in Houston for the time being in his private consulting business. Okay. Now I will say, after we met last about a week ago Tuesday, right? It was a week ago Tuesday, and then we all decided to offer him a job. I texted him directly after the meeting, and since it was kind of late, it wasn't super late, and I asked him if we could talk, in the morning. Let me know what time is good for you. And I was a little bit taken aback that he said, well, I'll be tied up until the afternoon. He said he was having trouble with his phone, and he wanted to make sure that it was operating properly. And I said, okay, fine. We agreed on 3 o'clock. So I called him at 3 o'clock. He was surprised and very excited and happy at our offer, which was more than he was expecting. We went over things. He mentioned about his logistics, and I offered to him, I said, well, perhaps you can work in Devine for 3 days a week and do everything else by Zoom, internet, whatever, by the internet. And he loved the idea, thought it was great. We'd give him, because he mentioned he would have to sell his house, find a house to buy over here, and the list goes on about relocating. He was very sincere about relocating. And he was going to try to relocate in Devine, but at least something close by. But he definitely wanted to come and relocate in Devine. And everything went well. We talked about what we do as a city, what our priorities might be, and so forth. Everything sounded perfect. Didn't have any concerns, nothing. I mentioned about budget, how quickly we need to get on budget. He said he'd already been looking at things, already had ideas, which was great. And that's pretty much where we're at.
All that time that we spent with him, and it was a remarkable guy. I don't know if he saw our budget and got scared, he wanted to climb up a tree, but we didn't.
Mike, he saw the budget before he ever got here. It's all posted online.
He would have gotten it in the Friday packet.
Yeah, so he had already seen all that. He already had some comments about the budget and some things. I didn't take notes while I was talking to him today. I was at my cousin's house in South Carolina, actually, and spoke for about half an hour or so. I didn't take notes. I remember a few things, but that'll be for another time. But that just with regards to the budget. He commended our staff. He thought everybody was very helpful, very cooperative. He didn't have a bad thing to say. Other than the personal matter, he was very, very apologetic. He says, I know what y'all go through to try and do this, but I just can't.
Well, having a wife, I understand what compromise means.
Yeah. So, if he's going to be a city manager elsewhere, it'll have to be closer to Houston.
So I guess my question on this to Tom, since he worked yesterday, are we going to how are we going to compensate him based on the salary we offered?
Yeah, see, this one, we should have never brought him in.
He should have never come in before a contract was signed, but he was here, he worked all day, we should compensate him.
Remember, that was his choice.
From what I understand, it wasn't, but that's okay. He was here all day, we should compensate him. I don't want problems coming at us afterward.
It's not his choice, from what you understand. I don't get it.
Show up yesterday. So, I don't know.
Didn't he show up yesterday? I'm afraid that's not true.
Okay, then,
Because
even with that.
I can speak for myself. I know I didn't. I didn't say, hey.
Even with that, he was here all day and worked all day. I don't want problems with other future people coming and say, well, you dissed this man. No.
But, excuse me, if the council wants to compensate him for that day, they can do that.
He did give me a copy of his fees, because we know we have to fill out we did get that issue. But he didn't fill out any of the new forms. Yes, but he didn't fill it out. We just got his IDs, a copy of it.
We're just having a conversation. He didn't fill out a W form yesterday, a W4 form yesterday.
From the I-9.
Or the I-9. So we're gonna have to, he left his identification, copies of his cards here, so we do have that information. If we don't have all of the information, we can contact him and get it. But it's gonna be up to the council, Debbie, and in the letter, he says that he's rescinding, I am rescinding my acceptance of the city administrator.
Okay. If you think we're not going to get backlash, then I won't. I'll leave it alone.
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is if he's going to file for unemployment, but he's actually rescinded. He quit his job. He wasn't fired. He wasn't terminated. I agree with you. It would have been better if we'd had the contract in place before he came down.
Correct. In your support here, I will make a motion that we authorize the mayor and acting city administrator to reach out to Deck Shaver to inquire as to whether or not he wants paid, and then pay him appropriately for his time worked.
So if he says no, we're safe.
Yep. It's our diligence.
Is that okay, Tom? Is that legal?
That's fine.
Okay. I'll second that.
Okay, all right, we have a motion. We have a motion from Josh to offer compensation to Deck Shaver Jr. for his appearance yesterday here in Devine. And we have a second. The motion was from Josh and the second was from Debbie. Okay, and just real quick for the record, this earlier statement concerns me. He was not told to come in yesterday. Okay, so there was talk about him reviewing contract, et cetera, okay, because I told him it was being drawn up, but remember, I hadn't spoken to him since last Wednesday, the following day. So he was not told to come in at any time. He offered, okay? I didn't see how he could come and work if he wasn't employed yet, because we were supposed to do that tonight.
Correct.
So, yeah.
Mayor, he was given a copy of the contract in his packet. So.
On Friday?
Right, on Friday.
Yeah. So, he was emailed that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. Once again, it was his idea to come. So, be sure and put that in the minutes, please. Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries to offer Deck Shaver compensation for yesterday's work. All right. Okay, that takes us to the budget workshop.
Can we, before we go on, I'd like to stay on the city administrator. Can we just advise and have Dora reapply, re-advertise for the position? Oh,
So I'll make a motion that we re-advertise the job offer for city administrator.
I think we can do that, Butch.
Okay, that's what I was asking you. We could
Yeah, I
discuss
think
it.
we can do do that. Yeah, we were talking about, yes, we can do that.
Okay.
Just to re-advertise.
Yeah, yeah, obviously we need to. Okay. So, since we didn't go into closed session, we don't have to say we reconvened because we never left, okay? We will reopen that agenda item for further discussion and possible motions. Now we're reopening.
It sounds like we don't need to though, correct?
We closed the item.
Right, just to re-advertise?
Right.
Yeah, but we closed the item. I closed the agenda item. Because we had a motion to carry it and that was it. The motion was to offer him compensation,
Yes.
okay? So,
Well, you can have more than one motion on the same.
oh, I know, but I thought that was it. So I just reopened the deal. So it's the same thing, so just repeat it.
We do or we do not need to make a motion to re-advertise?
Yes, we do.
If you want to make a motion, you can make a motion.
I can make a motion to color the sky, but do I need to?
She can't unless we direct her to. So we have to make the motion.
Okay,
So
well,
make the motion.
I'm not rescinding my motion.
Okay, say it again.
I make a motion that we re-advertise the city administrator job on all available online platforms.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion from Josh to put the position up on the employment app form, apps, etc. Okay, do we have before? We have a motion from Debbie. I mean, a second from Debbie. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. So we will re-advertise for city administrator.
Awesome.
Don't sound so eager, Dora. Don't sound so eager.
Okay,
Don't bring it tears either.
Okay, I didn't realize there'd be another motion coming, so before we proceed, are we ready to go to presidential? All right, moving on. Agenda item number 5, budget workshop. Time for fun.
All right. Here, this is where I leave for the evening.
Sir.
Oh, you don't want to listen to all this fun stuff, Tom?
No, I do not.
All right, can I make a few statements before we kick off here?
Of course.
Okay.
Now it's open discussion. You can do anything you want.
I am unclear what we're budgeting for other than kicking the can down the road and putting Band-Aids on sucking chest wounds. We do not have a vision for the city as far as development and really a prioritized effects list. So as we're adjusting budgets, I mean, just like I saw last year and the previous year, sitting out there in the audience even, we're just kind of batting around how do we not increase the tax rate too much, but we're not really driving our taxes toward any particular goal.
Okay, I agree. Okay, so my opinion, the first step of what we need to do is for example, get an idea from Debbie what her priorities may be in her district, yours, your each individual district, okay, right? And then take those priorities and apply them to the overall priorities of the city, okay? We can start there. Okay, it doesn't mean that each person gets one priority. Everybody has to agree to it, okay? But that's a good way to get started. And then also, I guess the biggest thing would be our priorities as a city as a whole also, what your ideas of those are, okay? Right, and then bring those to us now or the next time or whatever, okay? Then you can determine the needs of your budget, okay? Because, for example, I did speak with the gentleman today, Deck, about that, and he mentioned, he says you could probably get by to just kind of maintaining what you have, okay? But then we wouldn't go anywhere with it, all right? So, so like I said, I have a couple things myself that I would like to see. For example, the cooperation with the county commissioner, on burn drainage over here at the end. I would like to get that factored into the budget. Okay, but before I do that, I got to meet with Danny and say, hey, Danny, what do you think this might cost the city? What might we be able to offer, and so forth. But that would be one of my, I think, an easy to accomplish goal. Would be that. Okay, so. And then, of course, we're still talking about the water storage tank. Okay, so and that's another thing. It may, that might cost us a little bit of money. We have to prepare for that. Okay, so anyway, whatever ideas you have, I would say probably the city as a whole, obviously, but then again, okay, you are held accountable by your constituents in your district. So whatever the biggest thing is over there, hey, let's talk about it. Let's see if we can move on it, or at least set a foundation to move on it for the following budget. Now remember that you have to think of the budget as an ongoing thing. It's not just this coming year. We got to think about the impact it's going to have on the following years. Okay, right? Not just this year. Okay, so until we decide our wants and needs, that's when you decide your tax rate. Okay, we also need to have, Dora, have we gotten the what we can do as far as tax rate goes from the county? What we can do as far as tax rate goes from the county?
No.
So we don't know what our effective tax rate is yet?
No, and the
Roll back?
calendar, how they normally give it to us, which is normally the beginning of August. So I have, and they got this calendar, Melissa and Johnette got this calendar, and so they know that August the 8th, we'll have another budget workshop, and that's what council will, y'all will review, what they've given us.
So until then, we have to work with a tentative margin?
Yeah, because they don't just do it for us, they do it for all the schools in all the different cities. So, and this is when they've been able to give it to us.
We got, you know, we have some numbers from today, but didn't you say that there's still some things that haven't been loaded into the program, Dora?
I'm sorry?
Okay, we have some numbers today just to kind of look at.
Right
But-
now, what y'all have is very raw.
Right.
Because I had left, I did input, some of the departments, for deck, I had inputted, they're like maintenance items and stuff like that, little increases here and there, but I had left, I didn't put the capital outlay in there because I wanted to give it to him. I knew he would probably wanted to meet with the department heads to get justification. And then I told him that all the other stuff, like the, projection for, taxes, for sales tax, all of that, I didn't do because I was giving him that chance to, go in, to do what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
So, I gave him everything that he asked for yesterday.
Right.
And, so no, I mean, I pretty much was leaving the budget, letting him know what all got inputted. He got copies of it, and then he just, he looked at it, was asking questions, but nothing got inputted yesterday.
Okay. So, another question too, you may or may not know, so a lot of people are fighting their tax appraisal, okay? Will they have settled a lot of those before August and before our budget? Will we have any idea, for example, how many people are gonna win and how many people won't? Because that's gonna affect the tax evaluations of our city and the House, which of course affects the bottom line on what we'll get with our tax rate.
Yeah, I know that Johnette had said that they were already, looking at everything, so I can find out with her to see if there's gonna be any that are going to be, still toward when they give us what they give us. I can find out.
I think in the past, by the time they give us the number, all of that is done. The people that are, going before them saying no.
Yeah.
In the past,
Yeah.
it has always been done before they gave us a number.
Yeah, but they've had a really massive turnout.
Well, maybe they shouldn't have done what they did then.
I agree. I agree.
But
So
in
I
the
think,
past, that they know they have to have usually by then. I didn't know it was August 8th though.
yeah,
So
they've
it's
had
not
a,
next week.
they've had a massive number of objections to the property valuations. So, across the entire county,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. And I think Medina County is probably one of the worst right now.
I will
So-
agree with you on that.
So, anyway, folks over here in this thing get to pay for what's going on in the north end over there by, and what have you, so, which obviously isn't fair. So, it is what it is. Hopefully a lot of people win their, arguments. So,
And in the past, it was like 4% one hour.
It's a very low
It's
number.
a very low
Yeah.
percentage that have won. So I don't know.
In
what
fact,
will happen.
4% seems high
Right.
to me.
I don't know, I think I read it somewhere,
Yeah.
but still, I'm not really too worried because I'm too good. Unfortunately. But maybe this year will be the different year. That'd be great for that.
So anyway, it seems to me you guys might like a little time to kind of prepare some things, but you throw some stuff out, let's discuss it.
So my thought process here, we don't want more houses. I'm not a fan of discouraging houses, but every time you put more house in, that's increased impact to your water treatment facility, your sewage treatment facility, and more road work that you need to maintain. We have pretty much no opportunity for our kids coming out of high school. So they graduate, and they go off to College Station, Austin, Waco, wherever, Houston, to make money, and then they come back 20 years later with kids because this is still a nice place to raise a family. But we can't even provide them nice services because we're not bringing the tax revenue. A lot of those folks go to the military, come back 100% service-related disabled, and then we don't collect any tax money. God willing, I'll get my 100% and I won't pay any property taxes. But point being, I'm just looking at the tax records for Crouch specifically because that street is in terrible condition. But man, I'm trying to think of how I can justify asking for money to pave that street when we're just not bringing in the money to pay for it over 25 years. So how do we increase our tax revenue without bringing in business? And I'm not talking Walmarts because they're very extractive. They bring in a whole bunch of crap from China, and about 75 cents of every dollar leaves town. We keep such a small quantity of that before it gets spent out of town anyway. I mean, it maybe rolls over town twice, 3 times maybe, but how do we bring in those small, medium-sized businesses that will add to the sales tax specifically?
That was one of my thingies to bring up. I would like for us to, the TERS property that we have up by the 35, this year we really did nothing with it. For many reasons. I would love to have the TERS guy come back and have JR start, we have all the plans drawn to, where the roads and the electric and the gas lines and all of that have to be. What will it take to start that so that we can get it sold? Like, so people, your medium-ish businesses or whoever can come and that will help with property tax and sales tax if they're retail or, that sort of thing. That's where we're gonna grow.
But if we're front-running business, how do we know that's how they want to go? It's kind of like we had that big discussion about the airport. How do you know that's what makes the most sense for businesses? If we're automatically putting stuff in there, all your taps, your sewers, your roads and whatnot. If business doesn't think it's a good idea and a profitable opportunity out there, we're just pouring money down the drain.
What's the Mr. Tur's name? I forget.
That's Elliot.
Thank you. Mr. Elliott had said he already had people coming to him interested, but we had no roads for them. And it's actually one big road and one side road that goes off to Gonzales. Isn't that, it's one that goes from 173 to the frontage, and then another road from there to Gonzales into District 2. Terrace. Okay, sorry, I'm going off my memory. Obviously, it's not good, but just those 2 roads. That way, it kind of gives different businesses an opportunity to see what is there, what's available. They might like 10 acres here, and another guy might only want 1 acre over here, but it still would start bringing business there because it could be industrial, light industrial, or it could be restaurants, and it could be a retail soy machine room. I mean, I don't know. That's kind of how we started the process in the first place, because that will help our revenue, tax wise and property and sales tax.
My hesitation there is you get those any of the big box stores, and it's just going to kill our small businesses currently existing in town here. So you put in a restaurant out there, good luck with staying in business for any of our local restaurants.
It's not necessarily true, because we have a big local that will come there too.
I'm not opposed to catching the 35 traffic, but those sort of things I want to be aware of.
Or
That's a
it's
worry I
either
have.
that or why do we have 75 acres out there? Because they're getting us nothing right now. This has been put in tours for that specific reason. I would like to see it continue because Devine is very blocked. We can't grow more than we are, but that will grow us revenue. I see that as our future revenue, actually.
I guess who are the companies reaching out to Mr. Elliott?
Well, that's why I'd like to have Mr. Elliott come back and talk to us and give us a little more game plan. Because I know there was some developer that wanted to buy some of that land in closer to District 2, that portion to put townhomes and stuff in. So
It's more efficient use of the land.
it is very efficient use and it gives us more places for people to move into. So
You know, at our, that AdCog meeting that we all attended, okay? Remember that one fella, was talking about his revenue, I can't remember what town that was, you know how they have anyway, the guy, huh?
Leon Valley?
Yeah, I think it was Leon Valley or,
Yeah.
well, or was something next to them. I can't remember exactly which one it was, but they actually bring in more sales tax revenue than they do property tax revenue. Remember
Yes.
what he was saying? And of course, COVID kind of hurt that a lot, and now it's bounced back. And one of the big things that he talked about, what was that they're bringing in people's money from other places. Okay, so rather than having another restaurant or this or that here and just circulating the same money, okay, for example, by the way, Walmart, if I'm not mistaken, contributes substantially to this TERS.
Yes.
Okay, so anyway, and I think we were going to try and figure out, ask Denise to figure out exactly what is the financial impact of Walmart, other than hiring local people. For example, the sales tax revenue, exactly what is it? Right, in the QT, this year, I think last year was a partial year for QT, on sales tax, or the way it's done.
The grand opening, I think, is when John came, and that was.
yeah, it should have been a full year last year.
Yeah.
So
Well, now
this
we'll
will be our
know.
second.
Now we'll know it was a full year last year. Now we're going to know
Yeah.
how much more that's going to give us. So, I mean, we got all that property up there. Gosh, you know, if you could pull people off the freeway, it's a no-brainer to me.
It would give us
Yeah.
a good revenue source.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking
So,
at.
right, and then okay, example, then other businesses will pop up because of that, similar to Lidl, you know. So,
Slow down there. Nobody wants to be like Lidl.
you know,
That
hey,
kills the school.
If it's gonna
Yeah.
get us out of the hole that we're in, I'm in for it.
It gives us
It's
opportunity
not about-
to do the things we want to do.
yeah.
That we can't do.
It's not about being about Lidl, it's about doing the best thing for our town. Okay?
Correct.
So, but you can also learn from other people. That's why we went to the AdCog meeting. You know, that's why, you know, these people come and talk about how well things go in their municipalities and what they do, and things they do. You know, it's great for us to learn from them. So, anyway, that's all great points. Yeah, something to think about. Let's throw it out there.
How do folks feel about, I guess, directing some money toward all of our entrances? So as you're coming in from Food King by the concrete plant, that looks like garbage. It actually looks pretty good over by QT, that entrance. You know,
Are you talking about the concrete plant, or are you talking about?
yeah, well, the concrete plant as well as just the road in general.
And you know, the concrete plant is not in the city.
Right, well.
Yeah, which is
that's
kinda
why we
goofy.
can't have a conversation.
Yeah,
Of,
so-
you know, how can we put a fence up or something to make it not look like trash?
Yeah,
Or
okay.
as you're going to the golf course there, I mean, Colonial is just, that road is gutted out. I don't know a good answer for that because it's a drainage issue, but
Well, the last quote we got on Colonial was 3.5 million.
well, I'm not talking about the whole thing, just where the road essentially is disintegrated to nothing.
Well, I think 2 mil of that was just that spot because of that drainage problem right there.
The
So-
drainage problem is TxDOT.
Well, on.
Oh, you're talking about on Colonial
Teal.
Parkway.
Yeah, Colonial
Okay.
Parkway,
Where
unfortunately, is
it's
ours.
down.
Teal, that mess, that's all TxDOT that they need to come fix again.
I mean, you hear what I'm saying? I mean.
No, I get what you're saying, but Colonial, when we started this project with the water, we always did Colonial would be the last street to get any repair because it's the most used for everybody right now over on that side of town. So I get what you're saying. I would love to see some streets done, but we can't afford them unless we have the county help us, which we know we're gonna have to pay for again, but we still can afford them, or we can't afford to have someone outside come. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, paying their labor is still cheaper.
Well, it'll be a ton cheaper because it won't be like your contract labor.
Correct.
Okay, all right, it'll be his
But I
cost.
would love for us to be able to do that again, and we have
Right.
money, we actually have money existing that we could get some roads done this year.
Or maybe we spend some time on a consultant to come in some of these key structures that are about to collapse on themselves. Focus an effort on improving them for their structural stability and safety.
Call the county fire marshal, he'll come tell you if they're stable or not.
The volunteer fire department, you mean?
No, it's a county fire marshal, it's a, not, it's a whole different entity.
Gotcha. I think some of those bigger things that are just eyesores that, as you're driving through town, improve that appearance. Maybe that's gonna.
The city can't pay money to do that.
Well, I'm not saying we pay money.
I think that's why we need to start over there in
We
Paris.
start making
And that's
that
where you
look-
need to start so that money start coming in, because we can talk about what we need to repair and what we need to change. If we don't start bringing businesses in, increase our tax, I mean,
Because that's technically the only place we
yeah,
can bring
so
it.
that's it. I
Is
mean,
there someone who paid to go out and headhunt based off the probable revenue of the business?
yeah.
Mr. Elliott does a lot of that for us, if we're talking about that turf property.
Yeah.
He does a lot of that.
Okay, yeah, I just,
He's waiting on us to get ready to do this, so I think between him and JR, we need to know what's it gonna take, because it can all be done through the tours fund, which is less expensive on our general fund.
I hear you. I'm worried about putting in roads that just lead to nowhere. I come from Pennsylvania, I'm familiar with bridges that go to nowhere.
Well, they actually go somewhere, on 73 to the.
Right, but for what, to what end? If we don't have a business we know for sure is gonna come in and
Okay,
sit
then
down.
you're never gonna get there. If you don't build it, they won't
If
come.
you offer them a
If
discount.
you
on
worry,
taxes.
if you worry too much about the people that already have businesses here, we're never gonna get anywhere.
Oh, water.
How long you been in business, Mayor?
38 years.
38 years. If Michaels would have moved in right now, he's got 38 years of customers that are right here that are always gonna go to him for trophies, for box cases, for shirts and caps. There's a big price difference between both of them, you know?
I don't think Michael's is, it's a different kind of business.
Well, it's
Or Staples, it's like something that would do something similar to yours. You're right, it would not affect
It
his
would not
business,
affect him.
because he's got 38 years worth of history
It's
built.
exactly clientele.
Makes
you
me,
know?
What went out of business when Walmart came in? I don't see any retail stores around here. You got the
there
dollar
weren't
store.
any
There
here.
weren't any.
There weren't any.
There weren't any.
just a fruit
That's hurt our business a lot though.
The what?
The ones that were here are still here.
That was ACO, and it went out of business before Walmart came in.
What HEB though? My point here though is you start
We've
offering
never had an
direct
HEB.
competitors. My
He's
worry
talking
here-
about the effect HEB had on our local
Right,
business.
so we've got CNR Grow, we've got Sonny's, we've got Charlie's Daughter. I mean, if we start bringing in big restaurants, people immediately, I mean, I don't know how many people just go to McDonald's because they know that brand. People go to things they recognize. The branding in these big box stores is really strong. So, you know, you're bringing that in, you're one, still not increasing the opportunity for our young folks getting out of high school. They still have to leave. Those companies bring in the money and they ship it right out. This is, I'm not saying worry too much, but think of how much money that's going to keep in the town versus export to corporate headquarters, wherever.
Well, right now we have this much money, and if we develop that, we will have this much money.
Well, if someone moves in, otherwise you have this much money you have to allocate to
We have
maintenance
to,
of that
we're on
infrastructure.
the way to Laredo. We are on a extremely,
Buc-ee's would be great.
oh, I'd love Buc-ee's. But, Mr. Elliott said this is where it's growing, like,
I agree.
and since we have the land, like, holy moly Ned, we're styling, because we can grab them right off the freeway.
The problem is, like you're saying about McDonald's. You can go to McDonald's and get you a double cheese jalapeno bacon with fries and a drink for $10.89. You can go to the restaurant and get a better meal. It may take another 15 minutes, but I'd rather have a fresh meal than having something from over there.
Well, it has
You
its
know?
place for people
Yeah.
driving on the
It's-
freeway.
Yeah,
You know?
we are the main corridor right here, going to the coast that way, and going to the river. This is the main corridor,
I
just
get it.
like Highway 90.
And truck drivers are coming this way to avoid San Antonio. I agree with your sentiment there. Just I'm worried about the second and third order effects of who we encourage to come in here. That's my only concern.
So
I don't
see,
wanna
that's,
kill
I think that's what
business.
happened the last 40 years of council being here, 50 years.
And that's
Well,
what.
they were terrified of growth
See?
at all. They didn't want anything. That's
Yeah.
why they said no feeder roads. But meet in the middle there. I just
Yeah.
what steps does he take now? Sorry.
Sunny closed already.
Oh, it
He did?
Who?
Say that again?
Sunny's.
Yeah.
Sunny's closed? Oh,
I saw that they had deleted their Facebook page.
I did too, but they didn't.
Yeah, I had a Sunny canceled on.
Oh.
Oh, we got a new customer over here. Another Mexican restaurant.
Really needed another one.
Which
Well,
one's that?
You know what though?
I don't know,
Maybe
it's
we
in
could-
the brand, they haven't
let's be
even-
positive.
One outside of town, or one where
One
Rockies
right
used to
next
be?
door Christian Furniture.
To where?
Christian Furniture.
Oh, with
The
a,
building.
Oh, there's
Is that
another
where the
restaurant?
Chinese place was?
Oh.
Ronnie Nixon used to have bottle food place there, or Daniel Cup, or one
Yeah,
of
it
those
used
guys.
to be, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that used to
They're not ready
be,
yet,
it
but
used to be
they-
Betty's
they-
Kitchen years and years ago. It was Betty's
It's
Kitchen.
like,
Right?
Yeah, okay. That itty bitty place? Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just saying.
So say we move forward on developing this land for TERS. We're gonna have to contract that out. Otherwise, I bet you we end up in a position like we did last year where they just don't have enough time to get over to do work for us.
Oh, no, that was always planned to be contracted out.
Oh, okay.
It was never gonna be done by the county. That was always gonna be contracted out because we can finance it through the TERS, which doesn't hit our general budget, our general fund as hard.
I thought the TERS was money specifically allocated for future development. What?
Reinvestment zone, that's what it is.
That's what
Right.
it is.
We just have finance.
Well, it's not gonna come out of our general fund like if we just said, okay, here's $3 million, go put in the roads. It's coming out of the TERS, not the TERS. I can never say it, but it's different. It's totally.
So,
How much money do we have there? 'Cause I don't know where that's
I
at.
don't
but-
know. That's a Denise question and she's out right now. But that's one of the things I wanted to bring up. I'm glad you brought that up. I think we should, not that it's gonna do anything to our budget right this second, but we need to think on that. I would like us as a whole to think on that. to
that might
keep
be
that
something,
going.
that might be something that we need to start thinking about and getting a committee together, this and that, to come back, make
I
a
think we
proposal.
should just have Mr. Elliott
do
talk
some-
to us so we all hear the same thing instead of maybe one of us telling everybody.
He should know too, how
Oh,
to,
yeah,
how to put streets in or
he's
what is better
freaking awesome.
for businesses.
And I don't think I have it with me, but I have the original maps, so.
Well, that can be, yeah, let's have them come in.
Cause I know at one time we were talking about putting the city hall over there too. once it
Yeah, that got
everything there.
next, like, what,
I'm
6
saying.
months later?
But look where we're at here now, instead of being in some nice console room or something.
Yeah, but we didn't have
Good
the money
AC
for that.
and-
And so guess what? Maybe if we started getting revenue out of that, we'd have the money to build a new city hall. But we don't now.
You gotta make that place
a lot
look
more nuisance
presentable,
before
though.
we find ourselves a nice building.
Look where we're having our court and everything is all here.
That's something to look into. If you can find a way to apply somehow in this budget we're trying to come up with,
Yeah.
great. But we need some more to go on, I think, on
Oh,
that.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
we
don't
can-
know how to figure out a way out for TERS
Yeah.
or
So,
one street
yeah.
costs, so.
Right, so, one of my big ones, is how we pay our people, especially, public works guys. I know that, Pete has told me that Pete, I think you're still short a couple guys.
Yes, sir.
What we need, and even then, that may not be enough to handle all the demands of our wishes, all the demands of the citizens, because they, clearly they like to complain about everything. And,
You don't say.
and we don't get the good feedback a lot of times.
Right.
But, those guys are the backbone of this city as far as what we do. And we need to find a way to pay them every single penny that we possibly can. Because we need to retain them, okay? We can't keep training people and have them leave, okay? We gotta have them vested like it's part of, you know, we just gotta treat them as well as we possibly can. However much we can pay them is what we need to pay them.
I think we did real quick last year with that. What we had done last year.
We gave them 6%. Everybody under 50,000 got 6%.
4 and 6, yes.
4 and 6, yeah.
Yeah,
depending on
4 and
the-
6.
And Debbie, on the screen, that's the tip count.
Yeah, what does it say? I can't read that far. I'm sorry.
57,109.
Okay.
What is it, 57,109, what is that?
The tip account.
Oh, okay.
As many hours we put in, we want to get ready. I think we make about $3.35 an hour.
You make less than that, buddy.
I didn't know we made that much. Well,
Go back
we gave
in.
them the 6% last year, but didn't we raise our minimum to 15?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
yes.
To 15 an hour?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Way too
starting-
low.
Exactly, what I
Well,
was saying too.
I get that, but that's all we could afford last year too.
Yeah.
I mean,
And we've also hired, we stole from the contractors, some employees, and so because they had experience in the water, they were started at 16. At 16.
Good.
Yeah.
what if we raised it to 16? That would give all of them $1 raise that are on the
Right now,
bottom
you
row.
have a vacant position in park, you have a vacant position, 2 vacant positions in water,
One sewer, one park, and mechanic.
and two in the water to include the mechanic.
So it's 2 in water and,
To include the mechanic.
oh,
So it's 2, 1 sewer and 1 park.
4 total?
Huh?
4 total?
3. And then you just.
oh, 1 park and the other 2 are in water.
We took over water.
Yeah, he just hired one that started last Monday.
Monday, yes.
So that took care of the one that you had vacant, not the mechanic,
Right, for the water.
for the water.
So it's actually 2. Then.
2 now.
2.
Yeah.
I'm confused. It's 1 for the
1
mechanic.
park and 1 water mechanic, that's the department.
Now, is this starting pay?
Start.
Because, you know, with inflation what it is now and everything, that just doesn't amount up to much. I mean, clearly everybody would love to give them the moon, but, yeah, I think we gotta do better.
To get them closer to the median income, which is about 52,000 a year for the city of Devine, we'd have to get them to 41,000, we'd have to bump up to $20 an hour.
We can't.
I'm aware of that. Maybe we should.
But so if your starting pay, okay, let's just say $15 an hour, right? So 15% would be, would that raise it to $17.50?
Yeah, but including all the overtime they're gonna be getting, I'm pretty sure they get an average, what, maybe 15 hours overtime?
I don't know, do they,
Right
Pete?
now with the contractors, the overtime is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
because they have to
Same
pay
thing.
with the
If-
contractors.
If you attract a few more employees, you may not have to pay as much overtime.
Yep.
Right.
So if, at 15, if we gave them another, did I do that right? Let's just double check. At 15, right there, because we know we got a lot of them at that dollar amount. Yeah, it comes up to 90 cents. If we gave them another 6% raise, anybody under 50, so it's another 90 cents, almost $1.
No.
Say that?
I mean, I'm just saying, it's not even $1 raise.
It's $1 raise. There are a lot of companies out there right now that aren't even giving 2% raises.
I bet they're paying more than $35,000 a year.
They're already higher, more than
I
likely.
will tell you, a big insurance company that I worked for, they hired people in at $15 an hour, and on a whole, you got 2 to 3% a year.
You're also not working 104 degrees outside, they can
That's-
always clean up shit.
What I'm saying is even the large corporations are not giving 6% raises, okay? 6% is, economy-wise, doesn't mean crap, but budget-wise, it's gonna mean a lot.
I assure you I understand, the DOT, we get a consistent 2 to 3% raise.
Correct, I know, my daughter and son used to complain about that all the time.
I'm
But-
well aware.
I mean, we could do the same 6%, 4%, and it would give the lower people almost $1 raise an hour. I don't know, I'm kind of throwing it out
It's up
there.
to you guys,
I
you know?
need some,
I don't think it's a jack.
Pete and I were just talking, so like, Pete, like the ones that he's gotten from the contractors that have come over, they have the experience. They don't, it's less training that they have to do. Some of them may even have, I don't think they have all their certification, but they have something. But then versus like somebody that's coming right off the street that has no experience, that they have to fully train.
Can I toss in some stuff? So,
Please do.
as y'all know, I actually worked for the city of Devine for 4 years. The deciding factor for me to leave a job where I lived 2 blocks away, that had wonderful hours, a job that I loved, was the pay. And I know that after I left, y'all did raise the pay for everyone, which is fantastic. And having done that, this job is easy compared to what they do. And I was in the library. I wasn't even in the city office, you know, and we still got a lot of the heat from stuff there. So it's not just that they're doing a job, it's that they're doing a hard job executing what we're asking them to execute. And so we want to keep these people because I know personally from experience that they're all fantastic workers. They're very hard workers who go above and beyond. And I want to give them something in good faith to say, hey, we as a council see what y'all are doing. We appreciate it, and we want you to know, we want you to stay here, and we're going to work for that. And I think they appreciate, the start that's been given, because I would have loved to have stayed with the pay scale that they have now. It just unfortunately didn't work, but it's more feasible for people to come in and make a living with the pay scale that we have. And I think that we need to keep that up so we can keep these fantastic employees and also bring more of the same in.
Hey Dora,
I agree.
remember last year we had that list of all the positions and then their salaries. Do you have that available to pop up? Just so we can see how many folks are making under that 50,000 mark and what positions they're holding? And then how many are actually filled? I know we've got a lot of them that are just perpetually vacant.
I noticed on our calendar that we were supposed to have a workshop next week. It could be something. I mean, we're gonna have workshops every week between now and the end of September, but that could be something Dora could give to all of us. So we don't have to squint at a screen I can't see. But I like your thought process on that. And look at it and see, maybe we can figure out what the percentage would be.
Yeah.
It might not need to be 6, but it could be. Like,
And I don't know what the answer to,
and I don't know
this
what
is. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to know the effect on the overall budget.
Yeah.
Right, so that's what I'm saying, if we look at some of these priorities, kind of get an idea of what they will cost us, then we might be able to fit them in somewhere or adjust them, et cetera. And the other thing too, with regards to employees, would be a chance for them to advance within our own system. For example, get certifications like for to kill weeds, for herbicide and stuff like that. So if you had an employee that wanted to step up and say, hey, I want to volunteer to get my herbicide license or whatever, that's worth a little bit more money, of course. Insect control, herbicide.
Yes, and then he sent me, right now, he's got scheduled for October, right, 2 guys? For the water license.
See? So then they can earn their own raise.
Too, as they get licenses, they can go East Medina, Nova Scotia Water, Saws, they pay twice as much.
Could we work it in that when
Because
they
they
get
have
their
that license.
certificate, they get a bump in pay to keep them? I mean, it's possible.
What?
As they get their certificates.
Yeah, when they
have
get like 50-cent raise for a license or something.
It's 50 cents.
For the D was 50 cents, and then you get your C license, it's
Another
$1.
But maybe we can make that a little
The
higher.
only dollar is when you
That's an
become
optic.
on call. Every certification.
Actually, if they could give us that information at the next workshop, then we could play with those numbers to see what's that really gonna cost the city, because we might be able to bump them more if you get a certificate.
I'd be very amenable to that. I would also love to see if we just got rid of the pay for council and applied that to their money. You know, that extra $12,000 could make a difference in maybe keeping a few employees.
Maybe.
I can give you that list, I'm just trying to find that list right now.
Appreciate it, Dora.
She was talking about a list of, when you get licenses, what the raises will be.
It's just 50 cents. Anybody that gets, whether it's a
Oh, we need
police
to make that
department
number.
that goes and gets their basic, intermediate, advanced, it's 50 cents unless y'all raise it.
We need to raise that.
And for public works to get their water license, their sewer license, it's, huh? CDL, yes, it's 50 cents.
What are some of the big priorities for our departments? I know last year we needed a tractor because we had some bad leaks on one of them. Or backhoe, was it?
Backhoe.
He-
We already
The
got a
backhoe
tractor.
came in, the street sweeper, it's already been ordered and it comes in.
It's 3 months away, it's
Okay.
Yeah.
At least
Right now, what they're needing is mowers.
mowers, yes,
We
lawn
have
mowers.
old mowers.
Well, you need to get us prices, how much those are.
Yes, I need to get some prices for y'all. I have a list of everything we need for
Yeah.
the sewer plant and for the water department and the street.
He was asking, because we have the money under the parks for the maintenance, we're getting the slide. The slide comes in on Thursday,
Thursday.
Yes.
to repair that, but what's gonna be left over, because of course, there's nothing else, and I guess we're getting closer to the end of the budget. He can buy a tractor, a new tractor, and it's a commercial tractor for, what did you say, 12,000?
Yeah, 12,000, it's, pretty close to 13.
if you looked at military surplus first, I'd really like to put that money toward Mike's Park.
We've tried, yeah, we will do that. I think it was last year though, not this year. We can try to look at
We
it.
actually tried that for the generators too.
Yeah, but you know those things already got a whole bunch of
Yeah.
So
hours.
they're needing a total of how many, mowers,
Well,
because they're outdated?
we have 2 lawnmowers that are already 10 years old. And, you know, they're,
Don't we pay somebody a lot of money to mow around the airport once or twice a year?
right. But yeah, that's what we're looking for, at least
Smarty pants.
2 lawnmowers for us, for street department and parks, and 1 for sewer plant. Cause they have one that's, it's older than 10 years old.
So we just need you to get us, how much is those mowers?
Right.
Yeah.
To replace those.
Yeah, and would y'all be okay for them to use the remainder what's in that park? Balance, for one of the tractors, one of the mowers?
Oh, mowers.
Is it
What does
a?
your
Gonna
park
help
sewer
keep
rate?
that grass low,
Zero
yeah.
turn. Yeah,
It's a
that's
zero
what we
turn
need.
mower.
It's a commercial.
Is your park in serviceable condition though?
The what?
Is your park in service, sorry, talking to Mike here. Is your park in serviceable condition? Briscoe Park's okay.
Yeah.
Our bathroom looks like a
They
prison
had
cell.
trouble with the parking lot, but then y'all fixed that already, right? They're at the District 2.
No, it's all paved, it's all,
Yeah, that was good.
it's good. Just, you know, so we just don't have enough employees to go out there and cut once a week or anything like that, you know? And there's babysitting our company, the contractors out here. That's why we need another guy.
And I don't know if y'all seen that they started cleaning up that where the church is at already, the guys, but
The school.
they do it on the time that they have, when they don't have a bunch of work orders or something. They'll go out there and
So
start
it should be
cleaning.
looking better.
We gotta get that Coker paved now.
Find a street that doesn't need pavement.
Coker? Coker. Savannah's car wash?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
That's
yeah.
over.
they'll get to
Say,
that,
Michael, about that one?
I presume. They got several others already.
The water department,
Well, I thought they moved the location, they wanted to tap somewhere else and they were.
I don't think they fixed the
Coker.
water, right? Or
Where the big metal plates at?
Yeah, there's a valve, they have to do a tie in there, but they're trying to go around Devine Drive, tie in all the lines from Colonial Devine Drive, East Davis,
And then
Davis.
And then.
Right, together.
That's why we can't do anything there yet. Right?
And they're doing a good job, because from what I've seen, that they're going back after and they're paving everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen people, they're like, yay.
I've had people
You
call
know?
me, think,
But they want the whole road, hey,
Do that,
listen,
I'm
you
like,
want collegiate, you want half the road. But I think that, after that's done, I think that whole section all the way to the stop sign needs to be paved. That whole section. It's gotta be taken care of.
Street maintenance with the county.
Yeah.
Like we need
We need to
them.
buy our own spreader box, man. Teach these guys how to,
Next to a
You got
business.
money?
I got you.
I'm gonna take it from the police department.
There, yeah.
So that's, I'll bring it
They're
up there, but I'm not seeing the improvement in the speeders or crime in general. So what's the police department doing to ask for more money? Do we have any objective
Ask for
measures
that
to?
much more this time.
Well, I'm not saying they're asking for a ton more, it's just,
No, I
what
don't
are you
know
guys
what
doing
they're
with the money we are giving you?
Police department.
I get a ton of complaints about the PD, but I think those are some very biased sources, so I'm looking for something to kind of show me what they're doing and how we measure that. How do we measure success?
They actually did
You
raise
see
the
that people
budget.
with what they do
Look,
with tickets?
let me show you something. Here's a good example. Look at one of the officers on there, what he does.
Well, some of them work a ton
I
of
wanna pass that to him. Well, look at that, tell me that's a ton.
I don't,
Okay, but he's gonna pass it to you, you're gonna look at it.
So we have 11 officers and they still all get a lot of overtime.
Yes, sir.
How many tickets for the officer?
I had Tom look it up. Under the state, it will tell you like for our size of city, how many officers, and it came out to 10.3. That's what it came out to for our population, for 4327. He was here and he was, putting in the calculations in there. It's 10.3 and we have less. So,
Would it have that much overtime, you think? You have a way of judging what a city should pay in overtime? If you have 10.3?
no, I mean, we can go and we can print reports off including and show you what,
Because it seems like, right, if they have a number for that, that should kind of be based on without overtime. You know? Because how they factor in overtime. If they're saying a city our size should have 10.3 patrol officers, you know?
I know the only time they get paid overtime is that if they have to work over 86 hours.
Yes, he was the
Our police department is different than a regular employee. Regular
Oh,
employee
sure.
is 40 hours, so after 86 hours, and I can tell you a lot of them don't meet that 86 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but after 86 hours is when they get paid overtime.
He doesn't, he's not patrol. Don't know what he does. Or him. He's too.
So is everyone on this list patrol officers? Is
No.
everybody on this list patrol? No?
I've
Okay.
got at least one investigator. I don't know what the corporals do. Lieutenant Chief.
Are y'all looking at the monthly report that y'all get?
Yes.
Are y'all looking at
Thanks,
it?
Mikey. Appreciate it.
And they're good people, man, they're good
Well,
guys.
it's not that they're bad.
You know,
people.
it's just that,
Okay.
Are they being directed
it's just,
properly?
why is it one person's giving 36 citations,
Right.
the other one's not giving any,
Right.
and 2 or 3, and then you wanna come and ask for $350,000?
And I really want to say that they're not busy helping Border Patrol or the states as they're chasing illegals flying down the highway, but
Yeah.
Should balance out, 36 from 2 to 3 to 0 and then
Yeah.
right. Well, and maybe they just say you go do tickets and we got to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna tell you, what happens is you get too complacent because you've been here forever. Just like teachers, they get complacent,
Like anybody,
you know, just like anybody.
The
But
officer,
then you need to move that friendship out of the way and do your job,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that way, I mean, this Devine's safe, it's the safest place.
I
But
agree.
I don't read any that much crime. I mean, you can look at the newspaper and you look at Devine's PD memo and you look at Lytle. Lytle has a whole bunch of stuff that's going on. I'm glad we're not over there. We're right here,
Yep.
you know? But I don't know how many police officers that they have. I mean,
But it sounds like we've got the right amount for the size.
Yeah.
that we have. It's just, maybe they just need to be directed what to versus what they're doing.
yeah, I mean, everybody has a GPS. I got a GPS at my work. They always want to know where I'm at, you know? What
I would
location.
think
I'm
our
pretty
cars
sure
have that.
your truck may have a GPS. No, you're the
they
lucky
all
one.
have GPS on.
You see?
So we
So-
know where they're
To
going.
include the, animal control. And Michael, this guy, he's strictly patrol.
Yeah, so like how many miles they drive and how many contacts they making. Are they hitting some sort of measurable metric here where we can say, you know, you guys are doing everything you can? good enough.
That would be a candy question, I think.
I agree. I'm definitely opposed to requiring a number of contacts. That's when you start making people the revenue model.
That's it, that.
You can do contacts, you just can't do, you can't do a quota for a number of tickets.
You can't.
You can require a certain number of contacts.
This is my court clerk, so she knows.
As by law, the job of police department and the court is basically
Serve and protect.
not enforcement necessarily. They're supposed to enforce, but it's more like compliance. So all these cases that come to court, if they're compliance cases, you're not gonna see the big revenue because they're compliance cases. They're just trying to get people to become legal, register their vehicles, get insurance, renew their licenses.
That's where you have my total support.
And that, but it is, you cannot tell them, hey, you have to stop 100 cars. You have to, that's quota, that's illegal by law, that's state law.
And it's changed by state. But their actual job is not to serve and protect. That was, I think, California Circuit Court.
Well, that's what I would think our priorities are, as opposed to trying to find tickets to
I
write.
concur.
Yeah,
To
so.
the point though,
I would be more interested in knowing the overtime and where it comes from, because if they're already making $20-some an hour, then it's incredibly substantial in the overtime. So, for example, do they have considerable hours assisting other people, like Border Patrol, the county, etc.? Okay, so that I would be more interested in knowing that.
Is there 2 shifts? 3 shifts that they have?
Yeah, they overlap them, Michael, so because you always wanna make sure that our town is protected. So let's just say that they get called out to assist, which they do, to assist the county, because let's say an officer's in Medina Lake, is not gonna get there in time. Natalia, they need assistance. They know that one of our officers needs to be here to protect our town. And if they're not, then, we can't. Our town is a priority. They know that. Same thing with pursuits. If pursuits coming down 35, they know that to take care of our entries to Devine, that's more important for them not to come in to our town, stay on 35, keep going north. If for some reason they have to help out, as when they get to the next town, normally officers jump in, and then they stop, they come back. But they know that our town has to be covered.
I hear you, just trying to spitball here, how can we come up with some extra money to increase the pay for our lowest paid
But I can
folks?
run a report on the overtime for y'all.
That'd be nice to know.
Yes, I can do that.
How much do they drive them, and how many, not mandating contacts, asking how many contacts they make. Is that commensurate with anything? Some sort of objective measure to say, you folks we can't ask anything more again. No, because we have to make cuts somewhere, so we have to have some way to determine how we're gonna make cuts. So we can apply it to the higher priority items.
I have an ugly. We have to do something with it, but we don't want to do anything. And that would be the airport. So I had obtained a thing from Dora of all the hangars and land leases. And so it didn't give me what the hangar number was. Oh, I didn't do that right. Sorry, got myself even sticky. So whoever's in what hangars and what land leases. And then I did by year. So right now, not counting 8A and 10, right now, today, with what we charge for lease or rent, we get $46,215.47. Off
Annually.
leases, annually, if you do it annually, okay? So, the hangar payments for our certificate of obligation, this year, we're paying $81,685.50. Dora's gonna next week be able to give us what next year's payment will be for this coming budget. But at this moment, I popped in, just gave a number, cause I wanted to see what it did. So for 8 and 8A, because they're those smaller ones, I just put $300, cause that's what most of these, smaller hangers, but they're a little bit bigger than the smaller hangers, so I bumped it to 300 versus 200. And then for 10, which we've all been discussing how much should we charge, I just put in the bare minimum of $2,500, just to give it a number for right now. If those were to be rented at those rates, we would be making $83,415 a year with those amounts. We would be able to pay the certificate obligation off, not off, but make the payments without dipping into the general fund.
How much of an increase is that for each person?
That's not an increase
no
to anybody,
increase.
this is what they
Oh,
pay
okay.
today.
Gotcha.
So but Dora doesn't have the information because I asked her for it, and she's like, we don't have it until the next time we talk. What next year's payment will be. It might be the same, but it might be lower, but we need to know. We know it's probably gonna be around the $80-some thousand payment. So what I'm thinking for the airport, maybe a 2 or 3% increase on the rentals for the year, because we haven't had a rental increase for a while.
What are we legally committed to do based on the terms of the leases? And what are the square footages and how does
They're
that?
a month to month, everybody's month to month, plus that was another thing that the advisory board were talking with TechScott,
You know they're gonna make,
Aviation was getting a lease, a real lease, like really true good hard leases, so that we don't have what happened with us with our previous owners of these other 3. Maybe this is the year we wanna do that with all of them.
okay, so, all right, so you mentioned 2250 for each hangar, or all of them?
No, just for
As a
10.
lease?
2,500, I just plugged 2,500 a month in.
Okay,
And
that's
that's $30,000 for
$36,000.
the year.
2,500 a month?
Uh-huh,
Okay, that's $30,000 a year.
correct.
Okay, all right, and then you said, the other?
8
Okay,
and 8A
okay,
at $300 a month gets you $3,600 a year.
okay.
Okay, there's other ones here, some
Plus
of them
what
are
you're
cheap.
already getting, okay, but,
What I'm saying is.
okay, we're paying about $20,000 on maintenance of the airport. Okay, we're paying also, what, 20-some thousand dollars for the airport manager. Okay, so, all right, and then we're paying on the fuel station. So, I mean, you're still way under.
Okay, I'm not
What
trying
it
to
can-
make them self-sufficient, I'm trying to make sure we're paying that loan and it's not taking it out of our general fund. Because technically, if the fuel farm actually worked like when we all started to put it in, it should be paying for the airport manager, it should be paying for a little bit of that maintenance. We've always known we're gonna have to pay something out there, like mowing or whatever.
In 2024, in 2023, we have a payment due, which is coming out, is $81,682.80.
Right, I got that.
And then the next one in 2024 is $81,162.50.
I'm sorry, say it again?
$82,162.50.
Okay, so.
81,000.
Even if we didn't raise the rent, we would make it. If we don't raise the rent this year, we would make that 82,162. But
Well,
only if we have those hangars repaired and leased.
Okay,
See,
so then-
that's the other thing.
Yeah, so then you have additional input there. You know, the airport board is gonna be at our next regular meeting, if not sooner, for their recommendations.
And that's great.
I'll let you go
I'm
also.
just, they've never been involved in what we rent at.
Yeah.
This is something the city has to make.
I understand,
So
understand.
that's why I'm bringing it just to you guys.
Yeah.
To let you know, we can make that loan payment and not dip into the general fund if we actually rent them. but we have those 3 that have got to get
Well,
rid
but
of.
in essence, you are dipping into the general fund because you're already getting the $46,000 on your other hangars, and then we went and bought the other ones. Okay, so you're still dipping it. What you're going to rent for those 3 hangars is not going to pay for its share
Yes,
of
it
the
is.
loan.
That's what I'm saying is today, $46,000 comes in. That's not, well, that's a little over half
Yeah,
of what the payment
that's
is.
yeah.
Once we rent those 3 out, then we will, if we rented them for the amounts that I put, we might be getting more. I'm just saying, I just kind of put the bare minimum in just to see. And I plugged it in and we would get 83,000.
But yeah.
So it pays, our whole thing when we got the certificate of obligation for those hangars was, it needs to be paid by the hangars rentals. Okay, that's what I'm saying. We will be able to pay it with the.
You're saying just go by the letter of the law though, and then we just take the loss on the 19,000 here from mowing and the, whatever the cost is for the manager, and then we do about 50 grand a year matching for the maintenance stuff.
And then there's runway maintenance and everything else that comes into
Well, we
play.
always take a grant for that, which then obligates for another 20 years. But I'd say if you can get the square footage of each of those hangars, let's make a more objective measure here on how much we charge. Remember, Honda is charging 22.5 cents per square foot, Rockport 17 cents, Beaton Middle 20 cents per square foot, and what's a reasonable rate at that? Instead of just arbitrarily bumping it up to, I mean, we're still in the hole. We're still, I mean, you hear what I'm saying?
I understand, so your thought is the rental of the hangars should pay for the entire airport all on its own.
That's a dream. I know that's.
Okay, it's never gonna happen, I mean,
I'm
but,
saying charge rent based on what the market's bringing right now, instead of kind of arbitrarily tossing up and down that.
okay, then you're gonna go measure them all for me, and I'll be happy to plug it in. I'm not gonna go measure them.
I'm not asking you to mention that, but the thought that we don't have the dimensions on our existing buildings.
So for example, we bought, okay, so we bought those 3 hangars, okay, from Mr. Avinger, okay? So apparently the purpose was to try and get him into compliance and all that good stuff. But then we bought 2 other hangars, okay? So we were already getting rent on the land underneath those 2 hangars that we bought. So for example, does the rental payment for each of those respective hangars pay for what we paid them for those 2 hangars?
But it's all in one.
Well, see, that's, once
It was
again.
$1 million certificate
Yeah.
of obligation.
Right.
That we have now spent, I think, $1,100,000, but we've spent it. And what I'm saying is, including what we're renting those hangars out, those other two hangars are being rented now by somebody. But I didn't write it down, so I don't know which ones they are. It's on my computer, not here. They are being rented out on a monthly basis, so they are part of this.
I understand, but for example, okay, we paid what, 160 for one of them, más o menos? Okay, so does the rent payment for that particular hangar for what we paid for it, does it pay for, at least pay the principal of the note each month?
It's helping to pay the principal. It's helping, if they were all rented, yes, we would be, what I'm saying is it would pay for the COO. The rental of all the hangars and land would pay for the certificate of obligation. What you're saying is the city would be paying for the mowing maintenance, the city manager, and whatever else we
The
got
fuel
out there.
farm, the runway maintenance, and everything else that comes up out there.
Well, the fuel farm should be paying for itself.
It won't.
Race to the bottom for pricing is never profitable.
So,
That was
anyway,
the whole purpose of putting it in was for it to pay for itself.
you know, we might be able to get more than that. So, albeit if we get more than that, it's even better.
And we can raise it if we were to raise rent by X percentage.
Yeah.
And,
So,
okay, so would those folks be more amenable to an increase in rent if we base it off of competitive market rates, if we gave them money for a courtesy car? Spend $10,000 on a car, increase the revenue by something.
I want a car from them when they come here, they can drive into town.
Yep.
For their
They're not
clients.
A lot of liability though.
For their clients, then we'd have to pay insurance, we have to pay debt.
Not to-
But we pay insurance in the airport too, you know?
Huh?
We pay insurance for the airport too.
Yes, we do.
So-
Yeah, but I wouldn't want nobody, I wouldn't wanna leave a car there for somebody to drive it into town. I mean, if they're out of beer, they're gonna come into town, you know what I'm saying? You gotta think of,
Well, their
you
plan
gotta
is
think of that stuff
to
too.
bring more folks into the airport, they have a courtesy car, they can park their plane to get prepared,
Well,
and then come in town for
You
lunch.
got 11 officers right here that can go pick them up, bring them into town.
You're gonna pay for police, okay, that's
So,
bridge too far.
I wrote down what the budget, I went back to 2016, I know we don't need to, but what the budget was and what we really spent out at the airport for the budget. Let's just go back 2 or 3 years. Last year, we actually, for the budget, we spent $65,734. The year before that was $55,000, and the year before that was $85,000, almost $86,000. Their budget was more, like we gave them more in their budget than that, but this is, I went to the audited, what was audited and what actually was spent. So, oops, sorry, I did not mean to hit that. And so in reality, what we've been budgeting for them hasn't been spent. Always. And it's only a couple of years, way back in the day, did we go over. But then again, we were only budgeting $27,000. So this year we had budgeted 137. We've used 58. No, yes, so far we've used 58. But we haven't made that payment yet, so. But I don't know if it comes out of this or not. I don't know if that obligation is out of this budget.
No, we haven't held, but we have to pay it off.
Okay, so it doesn't come out of this general fund budget. So what I'm saying is, if we were to keep the budget around the same, which I see for the airport, we've got, shoot, I had it here a second ago. They're asking, well, they kept it in the same, at 137, 713. If we were to actually keep that budget for them, that would give us the 30 to 40,000 we need to repair those 3 hangars. And, well, we've already budgeted the electrical. So, but we haven't paid it yet, because it hasn't been done. So, I'm thinking if we kept it the 137 budget that's there, we might actually use all that this coming year, because of the repairs to those 3. Because we can't lease them until we repair them. So, that's just my thoughts on the airport. We have to make some determinations here. I don't know what else to say.
Well, I think it's a little too soon as far as the budget goes. I think we need to hear what the advisory board has to offer. I thought they had some great ideas about ways to rent that large hangar, especially to get more money.
Well, they can guarantee it, yes.
Well, they won't be able to guarantee it, but it would seem like, okay, according to your calculations, that would be 15 cents a square foot on a big hangar.
I'm
If
just saying,
that.
I just put the bare minimum in, just so
Yeah,
y'all could
yeah.
see,
So-
we can make that payment if they're rented.
Well-
We need to rent them out.
So, I still, once again, let's wait and see what they have to say. Okay, we have plenty of time in the budget process. If that's all we can get is $2,200 a month or whatever it is, then so be it. But remember, the appraisal that determined what we paid for those hangars, okay, took into account that you should be able to get 40 cents a square foot. Now, I'm not saying we can get 40 cents a square foot, but remember, that's why the city paid what it paid, because it was appraised that it could be rented for 40 cents a square foot when it was appraised. Okay, it didn't take into account any electrical work that somebody may want or this or that, because quite frankly, part of it, let's just say some of it's just airplane storage, it wouldn't require electric work. Okay, now if you build a suit for other tenants and things, well, they might have specific needs, That's what I'm saying. So I don't see how you can budget for this until you know what you're gonna do with it. Now, if it turns out that that's all we can get, so be it. Right, but we need to try and get more for that place.
But
So-
are we trying to fix all hangars at once, or just start at one hangar next year, start at the other hangar, or?
But
It
then
was
you
for
have
the new three.
No revenue on what
The
hangars
thing
you
we
don't
paid.
fix. I think we need to fix them all at one time.
Her point is that we are required to pay back a certificate obligation through the rent payments, and if we don't get them fixed, we don't get that rent money, and therefore are in default.
And
Or
therefore, the
obligation.
taxpayers are actually paying it.
The taxpayers are paying it either way you look at it.
Fact. Could we get feedback from the airport advisory board and the park board before we go gut in their budgets, or altering their budgets at all? I mean, those are the folks we trust to inform us on these topics.
Well, I think once again, remember what we're doing now. It's the first night.
Yep.
We're throwing stuff out there.
Just throwing it out there.
Make notes, okay? Come back with other things to offer.
I like to
Okay.
hear what all the department heads want, what they wish list or whatever, I mean, what they think they need, not what they want, but what
Yeah.
they need.
Well, they need to,
You know what I mean?
they definitely need to do that, okay? All right, and then, so, yep. And once again, like I said, I'm sure like between now and next week, you guys are gonna come up with some things for your own particular district too. Okay, so write them down, bring them back, and, you know, everybody discuss and see what we can do.
So that's right, you can have all the departments, their wish list of things that they want to hire.
Can we get the measurements for all the hangars as well? Just so we can figure out a price that's good for them?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Then we can figure out what we're really charging versus what we want to charge.
Right.
Which is fine. I'm just putting out there, we need to do something, and it's gonna have to be in this budget cycle.
I
So,
agree.
but I don't think it's gonna affect the actual budget she's got written on here, is what I'm saying. We might get away with this from what they've used before. The other thing was water. I don't know if y'all looked at the water. I was shocked at the water accounts. It's way down on the bottom. You gotta go way to the bottom. We could be in a big deficit for the water.
Oh, because we do not charge enough for people that are non-city residents, leaching off that?
Okay, I'm not going there with that. Back in 2019, when the city increased the water rates because of the water pipe replacement loans, we all know it hit everybody pretty hard because we had to have a base and we went by the size of the meter and then we charged by the amount of gallons used. And everybody we all took a hit on council back then. And mayor and anybody else that looked official took a big hit. And we had said at the time, we would wait 4 to 5 years before ever talking about raising the rates again. I know that we're now in that time frame, but the water department is gonna be in the red pretty soon if we don't do a tiny raise. I'm not saying like we did in 2019. So I kinda started playing with numbers. Again, playing. I don't really want our residents to get hit as hard as they got hit before. All of us included don't wanna see that happen. So what I did is I played with the numbers. For a base rate, for the normal resident meters, which was the 3/4 and the 5/8, I left that base rate alone. Just left it the way it was. But all the meters that are larger, which would mean industrial or,
Businesses.
businesses, they got a 2% increase. That is not a lot, a 2% increase.
To the base rate.
To the base rate.
Okay.
Then for the water usage, I kind of played with the numbers there too. And anyone who's using, because, with water restrictions and all that we're gonna be counting pretty soon, I went up to 10,000 gallons. So 1 to 10,000, no change in the fee. But if people people that use 10,000 gallons and more,
Now, if those green lawns.
then they are going to pay 2% more on their bill. And then on the, for sewer, because you gotta have one, I just did a 2%. So technically, our residents are gonna get 2% increase, which is, $1.90 change on their base, and depending on their usage, would be, where is it? Hold on. That was 11 cents more. So sewer rate isn't gonna go up too much. But I'm looking at the water usage, so the people that use the water the most, they pay the increase.
I'd go with a higher increase on your water usage over 10,000 gallons.
More than 2%?
Yes.
And that's why I'm bringing this to y'all. We're gonna get a hit if we raise the city, but I'm trying to make the lowest impact on the residents. But we're gonna have to do something. Our water and sewer, we're gonna be in the red, and we can't do that.
Debbie, what did you say on the consumption? We didn't get that part, on the consumption. We got what you said on the meters, but I do.
I'll just give you these when I get done.
Chime in?
We do have a couple of, 2
Oh, you
inches
need
that are
water?
residential,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, then they get to pay 2% more.
Huh?
Then they get to pay 2% more.
I'd say 5%, but just on over 10,000 gallons.
Well,
And I can guarantee
That's a
you,
big
people coming
raise.
up in pitchforks, but it's the right thing to do.
I'll just give them your address.
They hate us
My
anyway,
neighbors,
let's
I
go
promise, will
5%.
be the first ones.
I'm sorry?
They
Okay.
hate us anyway, let's go 5%.
Would you guys like to take a short break?
Sure.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
These
Please do. Hey, Pete, what side of the meter?
I'm marked 746 to the break.
Okay, all right, we're back at 7:54.
You got it.
Got it.
Okay, we've talked about having department heads submit their wish list, which has already been done, so it'd be, obviously, next time maybe we can see the wish list. We've talked about police overtime, we've talked about public works wages, we've talked about how they can improve within our system. We've talked about airport, renting out the existing hangars, and we talked about water rates.
I want to, before you go, like on the department heads, I know we're gonna get their wish list probably this coming week or whenever, and we might have questions, and they could be here instead of.
Well,
That
sure.
would be good, yeah, to really plead their case.
Yeah,
You know
sure.
what I'm saying? Yeah, 'cause I mean,
Yeah.
if we get it, we have questions, then well, next meeting, let them come.
But then perhaps we could get that prior to the meeting, so we all can
Yeah.
formulate our questions for them. You know, we could even,
We can give it to you on the packet, and then they can be here to answer any questions.
yeah.
That'd be awesome. Good idea.
So we're looking at our next meeting to be, August 1st.
Which is next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. What's the appetite to start setting aside some money for another ground storage tank? I know we used to have 3, we're down to 1, I guess soon we'll have 2 side by side, if the other isn't instantly decommissioned. Okay, so we'll be down to 1 ground storage tank again. Those are not small purchases. Is that something we want to start setting money aside for to build a second one as a backup?
Well, right now, the ground storage that we're looking at right now is gonna be the one at the Warhorse Tower.
Yep.
And we have that one in the Bainwell, which the Bainwell's down right now too.
Yep. Well, we already budgeted to get the Bainwell replaced.
Bainwell?
Yes, sir.
Is the storage tower,
Fix it.
is,
It's not.
No.
we have a storage tank over at the Bainwell also?
The
Yes, we
Bainwell
do.
just-
Is it the same size?
No, it's way smaller.
A lot smaller, yeah.
Oh, no, they're going out for bid.
Yeah.
And will those be both back up at the same time?
I don't think
Yes.
that's.
Okay.
That storage tank feeds the ground storage tank at the Warhorse Tower.
Oh, it goes there also?
Yes.
Okay.
Gotcha. Do we need any more, the towers? Or what's the lifespan of those? When do we need to start planning for those?
If we start growing, yes, we're gonna need another tower, because this side, like Walmart side out here, they have low water pressure. And, yeah, one day we will need one over here.
Like one day being, one day this
depends.
year or next 3 years?
Next 3 years, I believe so.
How much the,
If we were to do tours, we'd have to have a new tower.
okay, so for a lot of things, we need to plan for a new tower. How much do those things run on, like, $1 million?
Yeah, I would say over $1 million.
Like one 1.7 million or 1.2 million?
1.2 million around there.
Okay.
I would say, but
Because I know that when they have a water leak over here on Coker or anywhere, Devine Drive, Walmart goes dry.
yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we need to have, like, you know, the towers and all that.
Yeah, we can have 80 PSI over there by the golf course. We come over here, it's 40, 45. Yeah.
So can we put in for the new tower when we're doing the tours? We could put that into that whole budget.
If you can figure out how to fund that with TERS money, I would be very helpful with that.
Well, that's a Mr. Elliott question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Since we're talking about water, groundwater tank and all of that, the reason he came late is he attended, an Edwards Aquifer meeting in
Yes.
Castroville. We're now going into stage 4.
Stage 4, so our reduction now is gonna be 40% of the acre feet we have right now, which is 911.
973.
So at 40.
Puts you down about 540.
Sounds like we need to maybe increase the spot rate to discourage all that lawn watering.
Right.
So a lot of these people have wells.
Not
too.
Not all.
No, I know that, but I remember when I was with the city, we even went to check to see who had wells and who, so that we could actually put a note saying, hey, you're under restriction or whatever, and I remember doing something like that.
But you can't enforce anything on them though,
Oh,
can
I
you?
know, yeah, but.
When we put the new water meters in, I forget how many years ago, at that point, at that time, whoever had a well that they used it for their property, not in the house, but just for the property, their water meter they couldn't hook it up to the actual water in the house. There were a lot of people that had to disconnect it from the house, even though they weren't using it. So I know we have addressed that in the past, unless someone drilled a new well that we don't know about, which is supposedly illegal. So I think that has already been addressed, what you're saying.
Yeah, it would have been like a cross connection between our city water.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Well water, yeah. So, yeah, everything was, I think that was addressed, all that.
When we got the new meters.
Yeah, I would say
That was all done when we got the new meters, 'cause I remember screaming about that. But still a good thing to know. I don't know, we must have a list somewhere who has
We
them.
do have a list of people that are on wells.
Yeah. But 40% reduction,
Yeah.
People
Okay.
just have to stop watering their lawns.
I already have Death Valley in my house, so I don't know how much more I can use. As my co-counsel here was so nice to tell me how many people thought my yard was crap. I'm like, well, because I don't water it, because I can't afford it. Like, there's gonna be a lot of those with this 40%. Will we get a flyer on that so we can post it?
Yes, he's gonna have to work on something, we'll have to get it out to the public
Okay.
and to the newspaper.
I would like to have a copy of it when you have it available.
Is there any interest in moving over to an online payment system so we can reduce the amount of mail we're sending out, the time folks are spending to print these bills and mail them out? And maybe an email list so we don't have to send out these flyers all the time.
We already have a lot of customers on the online payments.
How do I get that? I would love to be in an online payment.
Oh, all you have to do is you can go online to, you can go onto our website and click on the button,
Pay
pay online. It's gonna ask you what your last payment was.
Yes, or you can set it up just with your
Number of freaking
with your
bills I
account.
lose.
Yeah.
And then I think it even, and that is for the bill, and I think you can put reminders for your bill, for you get it. Then if you do harmony, that's the one that you can actually track your water.
Yes.
Oh,
And you look at
My
exactly what
water
we're looking
advisor?
at. We've
Yeah.
pushed that for
Yes.
many, many years to our customers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they go out
I
on
have
our
a
newsletter.
that.
It's called
Great.
Water Advisory.
Do I have the ability to opt out of paper bills?
Yeah. Huh?
Do we have the ability to opt out of paper bills? Basically, I'm looking to reduce our budget for the paper we're printing and mailing out.
That would.
It's probably a good reminder to, for
I
them
know
to get the
we do
mail.
have people that want.
I like getting the mail.
want-
I have mine taken out automatically, but I still like it for my records. Because I'm real bad at printing out stuff if I get email.
I had no
You know, like
idea
my
how many
credit cards and
existed.
stuff,
promise I'm
I
very
insist on them
consistent
being mailed to me.
We have a lot of them who still come in and We need to give them their stuff, we need to
Well,
give
yeah,
them
I'm not saying
manuals.
cut it off,
And
just-
I wanna say a lot of them actually are like that.
Offer that opportunity for folks, and also, that would also get ahead of some of the, hey, I don't know when meetings are happening, just an email list, MailChimp or something like that. I know we used to have that.
Yeah, but
Everything's a kazoo. It's a government.
I mean, it turned into, for them, it turned into a mess. Everyone's sending it
Mailing
out.
out the newsletter was number one expensive. It was,
Okay.
because we don't get because it's not pre-sorted mail, so we don't get that, so we have to pay like what is now 63 cents per, and multiply that times 2,000 something customers. Our postage was, and then we have to hand stuff every single.
Oh, no, that's why I'm seeking, can we cut money from the mailing budget by just not mailing as much out?
We don't,
To
all
do
we
email.
mail out is bills.
Okay.
At the end of the
I guess
month.
maybe it's the library that sends
Or
out that
there's
stuff.
the late bills in the middle of the month. Yeah.
All right.
We've tried.
A lot of people don't want to do the online because it costs an extra 6%.
Jesus.
Yes.
Mine, just, you'll get my mail check. All right, I got nothing else. Stop Robert Trailer. Motion to adjourn.
Oh, with regards of, if anything, right, we talk about anything, regards to city administrator, perhaps we need to get on interviewing the resumes, like, okay, rather than collecting resumes for the city administrator position, if we get 2 or 3 that seem to be, let's get them, let's do it quicker,
So as I'm getting them, y'all want me to schedule for y'all to,
I'd like that just because we did lose someone last time before we could get them into interview.
yeah.
Me personally, I'd rather waste an hour and a half or an hour with somebody who sucks, and we find out later after interviewing, like, they were completely ill-equipped for the job, than lose someone who potentially quality.
Well, right now, we're having meetings every week, so we shouldn't miss out on any.
Fair point.
Yes.
Because if you give us, let's say by next you put the ad in and you get 3, let's just say.
Yeah.
On next Tuesdays, you could give us those 3, we could say yay or nay. Yeah, yay.
Well, you could just,
Set up
just
an
email them
interview.
to everybody to see if they, do a straw poll to see if they need to be interviewed.
Yes.
As soon as you get them.
That's what I'm saying, on
Oh.
Tuesdays, you could give us those, and we'll come in.
I wouldn't even wait till then, I would just say,
Yeah.
just, if you get a couple in, email them, hey, what do you think, and then get it rolling even quicker.
So as they come in, I mean, I can shoot y'all an email, I mean, individually saying, okay, these are it, y'all review them, if y'all wanna interview them, let me know.
Yeah.
Good.
That's fine.
And then just send them to everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, just
Yeah,
send them to
and then-
everybody and get a
yeah.
straw poll, and then we'll proceed from there.
I don't think we would miss any because we're gonna be here every week, so.
Well, it's not
Hopefully
gonna
it would be
affect
a
anything
quicker
anyway.
process.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yes.
we know it'll be a quicker process now
yeah,
than it was last time.
Okay, we'll do that.
all right. So,
Huh? I don't think you heard it.
I think we've tossed out some great ideas, okay, some stuff to think about, and of course, I'm sure many more to follow. So we're done for 2 weeks?
Huh?
No.
Next
No.
week.
Oh, okay, it's next Tuesday.
Yes,
Okay, great, yeah.
Yeah, so, I will do some plugging in. What did y'all say as far as, I knew y'all were talking about, 6% or 4%. What do y'all want us to plug in, so to bring y'all, so y'all can kind of look at?
On wages?
On the cost of living.
Well, I think at least 6%.
So y'all want us to do like last year, the 6
I
and the
think-
4?
But we need a list also, what do they make today?
Okay.
Essentially, yeah, the list of all the employees we've gotten, or all the positions, and how much they're paid, so we can kind of, maybe there's a more clear-cut cutoff of, maybe it's under 40,000, how do we bring them up and focus on the lowest rung first?
Okay.
I would like to see, for example, across the board increase, okay, but then the lower levels, much higher percentage to get them
That's
up
what we did last
to living
year.
wage, yeah.
Yeah.
So perhaps you could look at, I don't know, 4%, 3%, whatever, across the board, okay? All right, and then the others, at least 6%,
Yeah.
okay? All right, and then, I personally would like to see 12%. Okay, so, well, remember, it's not your entire staff.
No, but even
Okay.
that 6 and 4 split last
So-
year kind of crushed us on that.
Well, gosh, then we could get crunched somewhere, somewhere else instead. So if
Well,
you
we
got.
can look at it and just see how much it
Yeah,
really is, 'cause
exactly.
it might not be
Right.
that much.
That's
money.
what I'm saying, because if you're making $15 an hour, right, and let's just say 15%, that's another $225. Okay, that's $17.25 an hour, and that, quite frankly, is finally getting up a little bit. Okay, to where they really need to be. Compared to what, for example, what I have to pay now, what friends of mine have had to pay for other people. Okay, now, of course, we give them benefits, right?
Yes.
Do they qualify for benefits as soon as they're employed?
After their training, which is 60 days.
Okay, that's good. So punch it in, let's see what kind of effect it'll have on the budget, and perhaps we can work with that.
So
And
we can group and then show y'all what y'all are saying, the difference.
Right,
Okay. We
right.
can do that.
So,
Do we still do the boots and stuff like that?
Yes, yes, we still do that. They get reimbursed $100. And then, the, longevity, y'all wanna just leave it as is, the longevity with the tiers that it is?
all right. What do you guys got anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn. Let's have a second. We have a second. We have a motion to adjourn in a second. It'll be Josh and Flipper. All in favor?
Aye.
We're done.